Hello, everyone. I look back upon my professional career, which is about 25 years so far, and I think it's a quest for that elusive concept of sustainability. I was extremely lucky to have been born in a family which has supported women's empowerment and gender equity for more than 100 years. My parents enabled me to lead an independent life. I did face discrimination from seniors, from peers, but I never had to fight it out with my near and dear ones, and I'm really grateful to my parents for that. But because of all these privileges that I had, I could march to my own drumbeat. And as a result, today I find that I am wearing multiple hats and I am juggling multiple responsibilities. But the work that I do is not compartmentalized. Everything that I do contributes to everything that I do. Today I'm going to talk about two of my work streams, which I feel are important for the present and the future. First, I would like to talk about my work in cooking energy technologies for health and climate. In rural areas, even today, most households are using solid biomass fuels and traditional cook stoves. This method of cooking is inefficient and it produces a lot of smoke and soot and creates a health hazard for women and children. That is the reason behind the push for putting LPG connections in all the households across India. But LPG is a fossil fuel. It produces greenhouse gases. It contributes to climate change. So are we replacing one bad choice with another? We have to realize that in a world which is impacted by climate change, clean cannot just be about health. It also has to be safe for climate. So if we define clean cooking energy in this new way, then we can realize that nobody has access to clean cooking, whether rural or urban. In both kitchens, transformation needs to happen. I worked with various associates across rural India, and I realized that most of the solid biomass fuels which are being used for household cooking, these are coming from wastes of agricultural and forestry operations. So in that sense, these are renewable fuels. These are good for climate. However, we need to work on the designs of the cook stoves so that they will also become good for health. So that is what I did. Our team has developed a variety of biomass energy cook stoves which are usable both in rural and urban areas and are good for health as well as climate. But then I realized that I cannot just stick to this one sector of technologies. We have to combine these stoves with other technologies which are already available, a variety of solar cooking technologies. There are also other innovative technologies, for example, biogas operating on kitchen waste. If we combine all these technologies, then we have a set of zero carbon renewable energy technologies which are good for climate, and we also ensure that no pollution is produced in the kitchen environment, which is good for health. Now, we have to realize that when people decide about which cooking energy devices to use in their kitchens, they are not thinking about either health or climate. Their decision-making process is much more complex. And policymakers don't realize this. In fact, policymakers won't realize this because most of them are men who have never thought of cooking or kitchen management. With some of my colleagues, I talked to people across India, and we identified 18 parameters which play a role for a rural family to decide which cooking energy device to use in their kitchen. Not all 18 parameters are equally important for everyone. So we also developed a gamified process which allowed us to identify which are those 4 or 5 parameters which are important for women and men in a given community, so that we can identify the right cooking energy devices for them. Cooking energy devices which will meet their cooking energy requirements and which will also be good for health and climate. Using this procedure, using this methodology, we have been able to shift a large number of rural households to truly clean cooking energy in rural India. But what about urban kitchens? What about the rampant use of LPG in urban kitchens? There are many people working in the cook stove sector, but most of them are focused on rural kitchens because health has been the driving force as far as this sector is concerned. It's only my group that has been looking at urban kitchens, and we have been trying to bring about a transformation in urban areas. We conduct events which we call Cooking for Climate. These are basically demonstrations of renewable energy-based cooking, which shows to people that it is possible to cook without LPG even in an urban setting. We also have a lot of discussions in urban context around how urban kitchen architecture needs to change so as to be able to incorporate and integrate these renewable cooking energy devices. One of my colleagues said that we need a concrete focus for our work in urban areas. And therefore, we have set up this goal now that we want to create 1,000 LPG-free kitchens which will work as role models for urban households. That is going to guide our work for the next few years. So these are some of the glimpses of the work that we are doing in urban areas. Let me now talk about the second work stream, which is around building climate literacy in urban India. India has a unique challenge as far as climate change is concerned. On one hand, we are one of the countries which are top emitters of greenhouse gases at this point in time. At the same time, we are also a country which is one of the top countries most vulnerable to climate change impacts. Now, the issue is that the population groups which contribute to these two sides are different. And it's important for everybody to understand this complexity in order to shape our own climate response. And obviously, the responsibility is more for urban Indians because we are contributing to the emissions. In 2007, I designed India's first personal carbon footprint calculator. This is specifically meant for urban Indians. The calculator has evolved with time and it's now available as a web app. You can calculate your own carbon footprint and you can also map a pathway towards reducing your carbon footprint using this web app. Currently, I'm working on developing India's first vulnerability assessment tools for local neighborhoods. We already have district level vulnerability assessments, but people living in a neighborhood should be able to self-assess using their own lived experiences, using weather data that is available, and using ecosystem data of their locality to come up with an understanding of climate risks for their own neighborhood. That is what this tool will do. We already have an urban tool, and we are now working on developing rural tools for different ecosystems. In 2007, I also started doing climate-friendly lifestyle workshops. In 2022, Government of India has launched a concept called lifestyle for environment or life. I have been talking about this since 2007. In fact, I feel that I'm one step ahead of this life concept because changes in personal lifestyle is just the beginning. Ultimately, people have to come together and drive systemic change, which will make our cities carbon neutral and our country climate resilient. That is what we discuss in our workshop. How we can drive systemic change going beyond changes in personal lifestyle. In 2016, I also started talking about carbon neutral academic campuses. Government of India has launched its carbon neutrality schedule and plan in 2021. Our idea of carbon neutral campuses is participatory. A group of teachers and students on the campus comes together, performs carbon accounting of their own campus, comes up with a carbon neutrality plan, and implements that plan with collaboration of the campus management. We are there working as mentors and knowledge partners. We believe that this approach creates a climate conscious work culture on the campus. And hopefully the students passing out from the campus will take that culture to their workspaces. There are a number of colleges and universities that are working with us, getting onto this journey towards carbon neutrality. In 2014, I also started offering an online course on carbon accounting. I felt that climate crisis is also an opportunity for new type of businesses and new job opportunities. In 2021, Paris Agreement, which is the global response to climate change, that has become operational. All the countries have declared their carbon neutrality plans, and as a result, businesses and institutions across the world are declaring their own carbon neutrality plans, which basically means that in the near future, we are going to need thousands of carbon accountants and millions of professionals who at least understand the basics of carbon accounting. So I have now revamped my course, relaunched it, and it is getting good traction from colleges and universities. Encouraged by that, I have joined hands with other experts, and we are now building a number of educational tools for skilling the young generation for dealing with this new climate changed world. There is a new work process that I have initiated since 2022. Green entrepreneurship is growing in Pune city, and these young green entrepreneurs, we are bringing them under one umbrella and trying to mainstream eco-friendly products and services. We want to get rid of the tag of green alternatives. We want to be the products and services rather than just some fancy alternatives. Let's see how that evolves. I want to end by sharing some of my own reflections and my own realizations of what sustainability should look like in the 21st century. I'm sure everyone has seen this picture or some form of this picture. These three circles, planet, people, and profit intersecting. This is used to represent sustainability. There are a number of things that are wrong in this picture. The reality is actually like this. There is a larger circle of the planet. People are one part of that. And economic activity is one of the things that people do. If we keep this picture in mind, you can realize that sacrificing environment for the sake of development is an extremely foolish idea. But in the 21st century, we also have to realize that it is not just about keeping our total resource consumption within the boundaries of our planet. We also have to address the socio-economic inequity that exists in our society. Researchers have pointed out that every transition that humans have made from hunting gathering to agriculture to urbanization to the globally connected economy that we are currently. Each of these transitions has been an attempt to stay within the limits of our planet in spite of growing population. But in the course of doing this, we have developed science and technology, which has actually helped us avoid the population explosion, expanded our lifespans, reduced child mortality, created a lot of diverse economic opportunities. In this century, we actually have a realistic chance to create a decent quality of life for everyone in the human civilization and still stay within the boundaries of our planet. We just have to get rid of our obsession with perpetual growth. Can we make that transition? Can we transform our thought processes? Many thought leaders feel that 2020s and 2030s, these are going to be the most important decades. The decisions that we make, the choices that we make in these 20 years is going to decide the fate of humanity. It will decide whether we are going to be a collapsing civilization or whether we are going to be a sustainable civilization. In order to do that, we have to embrace renewable energy, energy efficiency, circular economy. Our political processes, our business processes, these have to be rebuilt on the basis of principles of equity and fairness. We have to rise above our differences. We have to shed all the discriminations on the basis of gender, ethnicity, religion, even nationalities. All of us have to first and foremost recognize or identify ourselves as citizens of planet Earth. All the people who are born in this century, they are in the 20s or younger. These are the people who are going to be voters, who will start their families, who will start their professional lives in these crucial 20 years. It is for these young people to really decide whether they want to be the last generation in a collapsing civilization or the first generation in a truly sustainable civilization. Will these young people make the right choices? As a representative of their previous generation, I hope that I am doing enough to enable the young people to make the right decisions. Thank you very much.